Welcome to the Six Figure Business Mastery Podcast, where every week Kirsten and Jeannie dive into the essential topics to fuel your business growth. From copywriting to course creation, mindset to video marketing, they've got you covered. Tune in for expert guest interviews on all things marketing and business, and learn how to work on your business, not just in it. So, get ready to unlock your business potential and take it to the next level.
So we are so excited, and I'm happy to introduce our amazing guest today. His name is Suraj Ethirajan, and I got that right. And his company is Grounow. He's a career coach and founder of Grounow, and he helps tech professionals enhance their skills, become more employable, and achieve the rewards they deserve. He coaches both corporates and individuals, and he customizes the coaching they need and provides role-playing exercises to prepare them for the real world. So welcome, Suraj. We're so happy to have you.
Possibly coming on into our program, the Marketing VA Advantage. Your journey as an entrepreneur and really growing your business. So thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. It's been an incredible journey because I've never done anything like this before. I've been on the corporate side. So doing it now on my own was great learning, both in actually setting it up, but also the do's and don'ts. For example, I did lead a global organization that went and trained billion-dollar customers all over the globe. And we trained those engineers. We're talking about hundreds and thousands of engineers. And in some cases, we had to build a learning management system, create educational videos. We had our own YouTube channel. We were doing everything. And once I started my own company, I found myself as a single warrior doing all of it. And I took pride that I brought in high quality, but I was getting burnt out and I was doing it all. And there's only so much you can do in 24 hours. So it came to a point where I developed enough collateral. I developed enough speaking points and value propositions for the business, for career coaching. And I needed someone to actually scale this. And that's when I started looking out for opportunities, and people were reaching out to me for services where they could actually scale what I was doing. I love video editing, but is that going to be the most important thing I can do to run my business? Actually not. And as a business owner, you got to let go of some of those things that you might love to do because there are other important things to do. So that's when I was hunting for people who could actually take off some of the workload off of me so I could figure out and do other things that are important. For example, how to engage in a sales conversation. It's not about selling, but I've never done it before. And it sounds cliche, but it's not. So learning how to speak, public speaking, negotiation, and things like that, I had to spend more time doing that than actually creating videos. So I needed help for that.
I think when people start a business, we always say a business owner wears a lot of hats, right? But the reality is, I think when you start a business, you have no idea how many hats there actually are, right? Again, like learning how to sell or how to have a sales conversation. Again, you're developing and you're growing and you're learning all these new skills that you didn't even know you needed when you first get started. And it can be a little bit overwhelming. It was great that you saw the value in bringing someone on to help you do those things. And you said something that was very important. You said you really like video editing. And it's the same for Jeannie. Jeannie's a very creative person, so she can build websites and she can edit videos and she can do graphic design. But the question is it always the best use of her time? And I think it's also really important, if you especially are a creative, that you don't give up being creative.
Suraj, I love video editing, but it is so time consuming, and maybe I'm slow, but it just took too much of my time. And then all of a sudden it was like, when am I going to have time to get all the other things I need to get done? I'm so grateful that we have our VAs who do that for me.
So that's really exciting that you saw early on that I'm at a point in my business that I need to bring on help. And so that's when you and I connected.
Get an amazing VA, like you guys said, with your guys' help. I had to create coursework. And in my past life, I led organizations where I also taught how to put presentations together because I was formally trained how to put slides, how to storytell, and things of that nature. And now I actually offloaded content creation in terms of coursework and slideware to the VA. And instead of doing what I used to do, which is teach how to have your 3 takeaways, how to have your presentation outline, how to build a course, I took a leap of faith and asked the VA to come from one direction, and I met her from the other direction. And the reason why I thought this was important is I wanted the VA's creativity. I wanted Anjali's creativity to surface. Because if it's her creativity, it's more natural. If it is mine, then there are going to be some rough edges. And she would have to redo things because it just isn't natural. I had to let go of what my wants and likes are and rely on this other person who could add a completely different dimension for creativity. And I think as business owners, we've got to let go a little bit. So in addition to video editing, Anjali ended up doing the based off of a Word document that I would put together my thoughts. She also redid the website from scratch and is going to do that one more time. So I just thought this was a really good way to let go of things that you love to do and do other more important things and leverage help with someone who can be creative and let their creativity shine and blend in with your business.
That I love that because I totally get that. You do have to let go and just trust. And they're not going to do it the way that you did it. And that's okay because it's going to be different and it might be better. Sometimes the VAs come up with something much better than I could have. And I love that you also gave her ownership of it because you asked her for her creativity. She's going to be more vested in the outcome and how it looks, and she's going to be proud of that and have pride from that. So you're a phenomenal boss.
Thank you. And this is where I do want to give credit to you guys because the program that you had in place, you were able to bring in the same like-minded people into the program for us to select as VAs. So that is the unique secret sauce that I saw that was unique to you guys because you walk the talk. Like you guys actually embody the same principles that I'm talking about. And I think that's why we connected as well. So the people that you bring in for us to choose from also have these innate qualities that you cannot teach because you attract them. And I thought that was unique. And I want to give you guys credit for that.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's so funny because going back when we first started outsourcing 16 years ago, we did everything wrong. We were probably the worst bosses on the planet. And we made some really hires. We probably made some great hires, but we were bad bosses. So that didn't work out because of that. And we just don't think about how much of a skill set it is to be able, as an entrepreneur, to be able to hire and to be able to onboard and to be able to train and have all the standard operating procedures. And then really figure out what hard skills do you want them to have? What soft skills do you want them to have? And I feel like that's something that we've just really worked on really hard over the past few years. And I think that our team understands when we're interviewing and vetting people, and before we even invite them into our paid internship, that we do want them to have that core value. We want them to really want to go to work for an entrepreneur and know that they're going to work for them for years and know that they're going to be a value asset and they're going to be part of that team. They're not just going to be this person halfway around the world that someone's going to throw a bunch of tasks to and expect you to do them, that you're going to have an opportunity to bring your skills and bring your opinions and feel like a valued part of the team. So we didn't really set out to make that part of our hiring process. It just evolved into that. And then, so it really happened organically for us.
I think there are a lot of battle scars that you guys have, and you don't show it because it seems seamless how you onboard not just the VAs, but also onboard us. For instance, I happen to have some technical background that included some part of social media because of my previous role, but then there are others who are not necessarily familiar with technology. And what I really appreciate was, regardless of the scale in which we come in, you're able to onboard us as business entrepreneurs to work with systems that you have in place. And they're methodical with the Trello boards and then the instructions and how to migrate your step-by-step coursework and then more offerings that you have. It onboards any scale of a business entrepreneur, whether they're familiar with technology or not. And I think that discipline, you make us fit to a particular discipline schedule without feeling the pains. So you guys took the battle scars so we can have it easy, is what I feel.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You've had your virtual assistant that we placed with you for how long now?
More than a year. As of this month, a year completes. Yeah.
That's fantastic. And what do you feel are some of the lessons? Like, I know we talk a lot to you guys about communication and building a real relationship with that person. And I know that's who you are as a person. When you think about having a real relationship with your virtual assistant, what do you see as the benefits and what advice would you give to other people when it comes to having that person be a part of your value team?
I think there's some common denominators, how you treat other people. I'm going to skip that for now because I want to be very specific with the VAs. this is something that you guys taught me and it served me well, which is to ask them questions and encourage them when they do something right, because they're very giving, more giving than we can comprehend. And unless you take a moment to realize that, you're not going to understand where they come from, even if they make mistakes or when they do good things. So it's to communicate and just remind them what they're doing. And if they're not doing something right, let them know clearly and they can take it. They're very mature people, but they definitely give more and want to do more. So you got to be very careful as to making them feel balanced, and communication is key. And since English is not necessarily their first language, just take a moment. And for the most of the people that are part of the program, business entrepreneurs who do work, they seem to exhibit that. And I think you've been reminding us they might have a power outage or they're very God-fearing, so they might not necessarily challenge us. So we got to create a safe space for them to catch our blind spots. So all the advice that you held definitely was helpful in being more engaging. And of course, that led to more results and faster results too.
Yeah, more results and faster results.
Mm-hmm.
And you've gone on to build your team. So you have 2 virtual assistants now, is that correct?
That's correct.
And your first virtual assistant, has she played a key role in onboarding and helping you with your second virtual assistant?
She is completely responsible for bringing the second person in. And going back to the thing, they're a very strong community. They're very religious in that perspective. They don't necessarily impose that on me as a business owner, but they do it in a very healthy way. So the person that she onboarded was part of the same community, church community, and another stellar addition to the team. And at least my way of organizing the business is with the first person being so good, even if the second person is not as good, it cannot mess up the team dynamic at any cost, because skills can be taught, but behaviors and personalities and how we engage with each other cannot be. So that was imperative. We did interview 2 other people, but it was pretty straightforward that this person would be a much better fit for the company. So their roles and responsibilities are very different. With Anjali, it is a much more senior leadership position. She can be fungible to do website. She can be fungible to create coursework. And the second virtual assistant reports to the first one. So I made sure that sense of ownership for Anjali was there. So she's not just an employee, but she's actually a pivotal piece of this company. The company's hers as well, not just mine.
I love that. And then you went on to get an opportunity to bring on interns. It's so funny because people think you get this opportunity to have free labor to bring on interns. And they think, oh, it's great, but it's not free labor because you have to spend time. You know, the purpose of having people come on for an internship is to educate them and to teach them and to let them learn what it would be like to work in a business like yours. So it is time consuming for business owners, but you've been able to bring in several interns over time. Is that correct?
That is correct. And I like how you started it, because it is not free labor. I might not be compensating them in currency. However, when it comes to time and contributions, I take pride that I spend more time growing the intern than what the intern did for the company. The intern did amazing things for the company, but I utilize this opportunity to grow my skills as a career coach, to create another better human being and a future leader that will hit our economy and market and our society. So those were the things where I contributed back to the intern. For instance, I loved how I worked with the intern and we figured out a solution as to what project that person would have. Now, I do teach people, career coaching clients, the 2-minute message, how to get what you want, ask for a promotion, things like that. But I taught the intern also how to do that with the person's parents. Now, the project that we had in mind was for him to be a Scrum leader. And we're like, how do we make this exciting for a high school student to actually be excited about being like a Scrum leader or project manager? And we found out that he actually loves playing video games with his friends, and they have this multi-role playing game that they would all connect over the internet and play with each other, but they would only do it over the weekends. So I said, okay, how many hours do you play? Give or take an hour or 2. All right, so what if I could get you to play for 7 hours a week, 1 hour every day? Would that be exciting for you? He said, of course that would be exciting. So we said, let us turn that into a Scrum project. But let us also approach the objections that parents would have. What would they have? You're playing video games, so you're not being physically active. So let's address that. Before you start playing your video games, you do 100 jumping jacks. You and your friends, you can get together. Okay, then you're not learning a few other traits. Let us try to have like one person who's in charge of documentation, another person who's a doctor who instructs everyone to do the jumping jacks, a person who's the scrum master or the project lead, which happened to be him. So everyone had roles and responsibilities that they would do. And then we added another mix, which was very important to me, gratitude. And this person would now be in charge of making sure that every single person sent 3 gratitude notes to their family members every day. So unless they did all of that, they wouldn't start playing video games. And then they could go ahead and play video games. Then we put together all these items where the 2-minute message or any other negotiation techniques to then capture all these statements and then go deliver that. So a lot of these sessions where I'm teaching the intern were recorded, and we're turning that into social media content as well with the VAs. The fact that now we're growing as a company, it allowed me to realize that I could take on more and then scale. So you have to give before you can get. And that's been the journey in hiring more.
I love that. I love that you made this project something that he'd want to manage. And you also, that whole asking your boss for a raise isn't different than convincing all of these kids' parents to let them play video games every night of the week. I love that. That's awesome. Those are powerful skills that they've all learned.
Those are negotiating skills.
That's wonderful. I love the fact that you're going to use this as content. Everything can be content, right? I love because that's real life coaching, and you took it in such a unique way. So that has been a fantastic internship for him. And what did you learn out of this experience? Because obviously coaching adults is very different than coaching, high school students. So what was it? Did you walk away with something that, like an aha moment in this process with these kids?
The biggest aha moment is intelligence can come from anywhere. We might call them kids, but they are super intelligent, super motivated. I think we need to connect with them. And same thing with the VAs, right? I think everyone has their niche and favorite things that they like to do. So even with the second VA, not like the first, so I had to find out what really stimulated that person or the intern. And now I have a second intern who's currently working. Everyone is so unique, and the same recipe doesn't necessarily work the second time in terms of how you go about doing it, except for the foundations, which is understand, ask questions, things like that. Great ideas have come outside of me, and I've been a lucky recipient of it. That's my takeaway.
Oh, that's so beautiful. We have been absolutely thrilled to have you as a client. We're so grateful for you. And I'm so grateful that even though we had a hurricane in Florida, you waited that week to actually meet with me. We got to have a conversation. You've been just an amazing person to work with and to get to know. You're a wonderful human being. We adore you.
And thank you guys for always leading the way. You guys always bring us together on Tuesdays. The efforts that you put in, it's priceless. I think we get a lot of benefit from just interacting with you guys, being on top of new trends, the do's and don'ts, the other podcasts that you introduced us to. I was interviewed by a psychologist from Canada last week. And it's just incredible exposure that is so very much important. And I think we are a community and a tribe, and we are helping each other out. So thank you for doing this, not just for me, but for so many other businesses. You guys are making a dent in this world. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Oh, lovely. Yes. And if you want to learn more about Suraj and his company, Grow You Now, it's GROUNOW.com. So go to his website. And obviously, he also has an amazing YouTube channel for Grow You Now. So Suraj, we just can't thank you enough. Like Kirsten said, we love spending time with you. We love talking to you. You are just an amazing human, and you are contributing so much to the world as well. So thank you again.
Thanks for listening to the Six Figure Business Mastery Podcast. If you enjoyed listening to this episode and you are ready to leverage video marketing on all online platforms, or maybe even start your own video podcast, then you need to check out the Done For You and Done With You program at themarketingvaadvantage.com and take your business to the next level.